Welcome back to day 19 of our digital clean sweep. Today's focus is on a tricky category, student work files. Now, if you've ever gone hunting through your drive for a student assignment only to end up in shared with me chaos, you're not alone. I used to think I could organize these shared files, but truthfully, unless I own the file, there's not much I can really do with it. And the deeper I go, the messier it gets. So today we're taking a smarter route. Let's head over to our Gmail and do a quick targeted search for clutter caused by student submissions and comments. Follow along for my step-by-step. Here we go. Before we get started, I want to mention that today's walkthrough initially is going to look a little different than normal because I'm using screenshots in order to preserve student anonymity. So with that said, let's get started. The key here is to use search terms to find emails that are generated from student work and from the sharing of that work. So a lot of times students may create a presentation and click the share button and send it to you as the teacher. So to find those kinds of emails, you can type from and then the colon drive-shares-no reply at google.com. And when you do that, you're going to see all of the files that came through based on that search. So I've got a bunch of files showing here, a bunch of emails really showing here, and some of them you can tell are still in my inbox. And then my next step is going to be to select all of them, click the check box to select all of them, and then I'm going to click on the select all conversations that match this search. That's because you'll see I have 1 to 100 of many on this page. So instead of having to keep selecting every screen, multiple screens of emails, you can just select all of them in order to batch delete them all at once, which is really awesome. Let me come back a screen or two here. I just want to point out some other search terms that you could also use. You could search by the words shared a file with you. So you would put the word subject and then a colon and then use the quotation marks and type shared a file with you. And that's going to give you any emails where the subject line has those words. Another example of a subject line might be commented on, because once students share files with me, I probably gave them some feedback. I may have given them feedback, and then a lot of times they respond to me as well. Now, the one thing I will say as a word of caution, all of these strategies are going to grab emails from anyone who has done these things, right? Anyone who's shared a file with you, anyone who's commented on one of the files that is shared together, and anyone who has clicked that share button and shared a file to you. So that might be other colleagues as well. And right now our focus is on eliminating the student work clutter. So here's my absolute favorite way. Once I've tried these, especially if I'm seeing too much of a jumble of people that are not just teachers, my favorite way to search is using the words from, colon, and then the @ symbol and the word student. This is my favorite because all student emails have that that line at the end after the @ symbol. Every one of my students, their email addresses start with their name and some numbers, and then they have @student. And I don't need the rest of the email address in order to find everything that came to me from students. And a lot of times it is student work. So that does show up and makes for a quick way to capture those items. Let me show you how many more items I found that way. Here we go. So notice I have all of these here. Oh, let me turn off these overlays for a minute so you can see it better. There we go. So it says 1 to 100 of many again, but let me just point out that when I clicked on the select box and then selected all the conversations that matched that search and pressed the delete button, it took quite a little while for it to cycle through before it got to this point of having no messages left. And I actually went through each page so I could see how many files it came up with, and it was almost 700 files, that it found. So this was a quick way to clear out those things out of my email and just reduce the amount of messages, and it just helps me to feel more cleaned up. So I love that. Now, your email space is a space you can control better than your drive, but I have learned some strategies for cleaning up my drive if I start right from the beginning of the year. All right, I actually have 2 strategies to share with you for this part. We're going to start by clicking New and creating a student work folder. Now, next year, what you would do once you get your class roster, you would go into your student work folder and make a folder for each student. So let's say student 1, right? And you create that. And then when that student joins your class, you will share that folder with that student. That way, anytime they do work, they need to place it in this folder, right? So that will allow you to have a little bit more control over the work that they've submitted, and you'll be able to remove that from view. But you still don't own that work necessarily. If the student created the file, they own that work. So it's still really, all you're really doing is hiding the work and removing it from your view. If you want full control, the best way to do that is through your district's learning management system. Canvas, Google Classroom, Schoology. Most of these are going to allow you to have maximum control if you assign the work and the Google files right from within Canvas. When you do that, Canvas and Google work together, they talk together to create this assignments folder. And you can see that this folder was created in 2022, but every year when I create assignments in Canvas that are linked to Google, they get dropped here in the appropriate folder. So last year's science assignments are all in this science folder. And notice who the owner is? Me. I own the folder, and when I open it up, I own these folders as well, and I own all of the work that is inside this folder. So if I want to clean these up and I want to get rid of this student work, I could go folder by folder by folder, or I could come straight here, and I'm not going to do last year just yet. It feels a little bit early, but because I've been doing this for a few years, I am going to go back to 2022, and I'm going to click these 3 dots here, and I am going to move this to the trash, and you'll see I get this message that everything in that folder will be deleted forever, and anyone who collaborated on it with me would be able to view it, make copies of it, until they're permanently deleted. But that means in 30 days, when it's permanently deleted, it's permanently deleted. That work is gone. So using this is the easiest, cleanest way to keep your student work files. Doesn't do me any good for all the years where I didn't know about this strategy, but it will help me going forward if I keep that mindset of, okay, I use Canvas anyway. It's my learning management system. So why shouldn't I be using it to its fullest? Let me just try to keep everything contained and assigned from within there. Remember, today's task isn't about trying to organize the student files in the Shared With Me drive at all. It's about clearing up the clutter that they leave in your email and cleaning out that inbox some, and then planning ahead for some systems that can serve you better going forward. You've got this. See you tomorrow for day 20.